Thank you, Mayat. Good afternoon, everyone. Today, our Regulatory Support Office, RSO, will continue with the six-part mini-series on FDA, IND, or IDE regulatory process. And our today's talk will cover part 2, how to submit IND and IDE application package. I will be covering the IND portion and Raj will be covering the IDE submission portion. So let's get started. As discussed previously, this is the IND life cycle, and throughout these mini-series, we will talk about each of these steps in detail. We covered step 1 and portion of step 2 in part 1 of our mini-series, done during last month's Research Matters, which you can watch the recorded video that is available on our website. Today, we will focus only on step 2 and step 3. And this is a quick summary of step 2 and 3, which I'll explain in detail in the next few slides. In part 1 of mini-series, we discussed about the two main types of INDs. They are commercial IND and research IND. Majority of INDs submitted by our investigators are research INDs with research intent. Commercial IND is used when a sponsor, usually a corporate entity, intends to commercialize the product and the goal is to market the product. In the interest of time, I will not go into detail on commercial IND submission pathway, but just briefly would like to mention that sponsors of commercial INDs and all subsequent amendments are required to submit information electronically in the Electronic Common Technical Document or ECTD format, as seen on the right-hand side of the screen here. I want to focus on research IND submission process today. As you all know, the IND application can be directed to one of the two agency centers, the Center for Drug Evaluation Research, that is CDER, and Center for Biologics Evaluation Research, that is CBER. Each center processes different categories of agents as covered in our previous talk. Once the study team puts together the IND application package using the templates provided by us, or that is available on our RSO's website, and also by having all the required documents from external sources, such as cross-reference letter, package insert, etc. ready, you may contact our RSO team for review. Then, when review is complete, the next step is to submit the application package to the FDA. I'll first go through the CDER submission process and then explain the CBER submission portion. So how to submit IND for drugs to CDER? There are two main submission options as seen here. Option 1 is using CDER NextGen portal. It is agency's preferred electronic submission method today, and especially after the pandemic, the agency went through major digital transformation. CDER NextGen portal enables submission of research IND documents through a pre-signed and registered account. The advantages of the system are reduction in paper submissions, standardized data, and increases the quality. It is an integrated platform for one-stop shop as it enables submission of not only the initial IND application, but all the ensuing submissions that will be tied to that research IND. It serves as a central location for submitting all the submissions, viewing the submission statuses, and reviewing communications from the FDA. The portal submission currently serves for one-way communication only, since no responses are received here and they arrive by email. The good news is RSO staff can submit your IND package to CDER through this portal on your behalf. But at any time, the investigator team is also welcome to create their own account for these submissions. Please note things to consider during document finalization for submissions before initiating the submission. Documents must be in PDF or MS Word files. No compressed zip files are allowed. Follow FDA recommended naming convention. as seen here. For example, for initial submission, start the file name with IND number 0000, then investigator last name, document name, drug name, and date.pdf. This is how your file should be named. Please also note that the size limit for this portal is 40 megabytes. In the next few slides, let's see the steps involved in doing these submissions via the CEDAR portal. Step 1. Create a CEDAR Nextgen portal account. Link to this portal and step-by-step guide to create your account is provided here on the slide. Step 2. On the welcome page, click Research IND option. Step 3. Click the New Submission tab, then review the Getting Started information on that page and click Next tab as seen at the bottom of the screen here. Step 4 includes addressing these 3 questions on this page. For the first question, select yes or no to whether you have an IND number for this submission. If it is the initial or very first submission package, you won't have an IND number. For the second question, select yes or no if this submission contains clinical trial. If yes, FDA suggests to include the clinicaltrials.gov registration number, that is NCT number, if available. For the third question, select yes or no if this submission is related to COVID-19 treatment. Once submission details have been completed, next, step 5 includes uploading all the required IND application package documents and then click Next. Instead of uploading, you also have an option to drag and drop the files in the section. Finally, the last step is to review the entered information and click Submit. On submitting via the CEDAR portal, an automated FDA acknowledgement to the submitter is received in email moments after the submission. This notification comes with an ID number for the submission, that is the event number, received for every submission. Please note this event number is not the IND number. Then the number of files included in the submission and the submitter's contact details are included in this notification that is received. Missing files can be added subsequently, and any technical issues can be reported to the portal management. Now, let us next look at the following couple of slides to learn more about the CBER submission process. How to submit an IND for therapeutic biologics. Once again, therapeutic biologic products are regulated by Center for Biologics Evaluation and Research, that is CBER. Unlike CEDAR for drug IND, there is no comparable electronic submission portal for CBER. CBER prefers research INDs that are exempt from eCTD requirements to be submitted using CBER submission email box. The submission path is through email directed to an FDA receiving hub for the submissions, which is the CBER Document Control Center. Some important points to remember is that CBER has email file size limit of 150 megabytes. So if you have a large IND application documents, you want to break down the submission into multiple emails. An email subject should contain the name of the submission and the sequence number, for example, 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3 in such format for each message in the sequence. Please also keep in mind that if you are using UT Southwestern email, there is an outbound file size limit of 50 megabytes according to the IR UT Southwestern policy. This is the CBER email address. Please make sure that you do not send via secured email unless FDA has specifically instructed. One can set up secure email with the agency. Request to establish secure email with FDA should be sent to secureemail@fda.hhs.gov. Option 2 includes mailing the hard copy. The CBER Document Control Center, that is DCC, will process paper and electronic media like CDs, DVDs, USB drives, etc. submissions sent via US mail or courier to the address seen on the screen here. But it is the least preferred method by CBER, as indicated in this letter from CBER. So we recommend using option 1. For the CBER email submissions, an instant acknowledgement may not be received. RSO can follow up if there is no acknowledgement or any sort of communication from the FDA even after a week. Thus, after submission, next step includes FDA review of the IND application. So what happens in the first 30 days? Once IND application is submitted, FDA issues IND acknowledgement letter, which includes the review division, IND number, division contact, official FDA date of receipt. Between day 8 and 27 of the submission is when FDA reviews the application and holds internal safety meetings. During the application review, FDA may request document revisions, explanations, or answers to specific questions with a typical 24 to 72-hour turnaround time, that is partial clinical hold. Since this review process is very important and you don't want to lose time or are unfamiliar with how the responses need to be put together, it is recommended that the investigator team keeps our RSO team in close and frequent contact for assistance in getting the responses prepared and submitted. Responses to information requests are sent to the FDA in a reply back email. In addition, responses may need to be submitted via CDER portal if the initial application was submitted via the portal. The FDA may place a proposed or ongoing trial on clinical hold if FDA finds that human subjects would be exposed to an unreasonable and significant risk or injury. The sponsor investigator is not qualified by training and expertise to conduct the trial, etc. When all responses to FDA queries are satisfactorily responded, FDA makes final decision and study may proceed letter or IND approval is obtained. Complete clinical hold is when concerns and issues are not satisfactorily addressed. FDA will notify the sponsor investigator as soon as possible after making that determination. It's usually by telephone on or before day 30 after the submission of the IND to not initiate the trial. Sponsor investigator, that is a SI, may proceed with a clinical investigation once the SI has been notified by FDA that the investigation may proceed, or after 30 days if the IND is not placed on clinical hold. Once an IND is in effect, a sponsor may ship the investigational product, but clinical investigation may not begin until IRB approves the study. Also, please remember to register the trial in clinicaltrials.gov as well. Thank you all for your time to listen to my portion of this talk, and I'll now pass it on to Raj to speak on the IDE submission portion.
Thank you, Rasija. Good afternoon, everyone. Let's switch gears from drugs to devices. Today, I'm going to discuss how to submit IDE to the FDA. In the flow diagram, IDE submission is covered in steps 2 and 3, which represent a very important stage in the IDE life cycle. IDE submissions are targeted to the Center for Radiological Health, which is known as CDRH, and CBER divisions of the FDA. Overall, there are process similarities and process differences in submission within the IND and IDE, some of which I'll point to in the talk. Here is a quick view of the summary of tasks and priorities in steps 2 and 3, which are the submission and review process in the IDE life cycle. Document preparation is the first step in the submission process. IDE application for a majority of devices goes to an online electronic system called CDRH portal, also known as Customer Collaboration Portal. For a small fraction of devices, the submission is made to the CBER. The CDRH portal only accepts IDE submissions containing electronic or soft copy files and engages a functional module called the eCopy to process them. Submissions to CBER can be through eCopy or via email attachments. It is easy to misunderstand the eCopy submission and e-submission. They are not the same process. The e-submission is an online filing process, very much like the e-filing of your tax returns. For instance, the e-submission is completed in an online template at the FDA site with the option to upload a few documents as needed. The whole application then gets published for the FDA to review. eCopy, in essence, is the port function of the CDRH portal. It is meant for uploading the IDE files without any online template to complete. The portal function is not to just receive documents. It has one other feature, that is to check the documents' technical standard requirements before they are accepted and processed. That represents eCopy's unique capability not featured in the CDER NextGen portal. Another functional difference with the eCopy route is it is a two-step process. The first step, receiving documents at the portal, and the second step, completing an eCopy file validation, which is aided by a dedicated submodule that enables document delivery to the final destination, which is the FDA database. Without meeting the eCopy technical requirements, the FDA will not process the IDE submission, which will be placed on eCopy hold until clearing the issue or issues. The eCopy hold is preventable by running the files through the validation step that checks them for compatibility with the prescribed technical standard. This is a prerequisite to the submission. 3 elements need to be met for technical standard requirements: the type of document file, the document size, and document naming convention. RSO can assist in checking all of these. IDE documents can be Adobe or PDF files version 11 or lower, with the total size of all the PDF files together not exceeding 50 megabytes. Statistical data are usually in Excel, SAS, or XML format. They fall under non-PDF documents. In addition, there can be other non-PDF documents such as videos, X-ray images, software code, etc., to be designated as miscellaneous non-PDF files. There is no apparent document size specification for non-PDF and miscellaneous files. eCopy naming convention requirement warrants checking the whole IDE application package, since frequent eCopy hold due to non-compliance happens in document files. Document naming convention follows a combination of a three-digit numbering to identify the document number, such as 001, 002, and underscore after that. Then the document's descriptive name, such as cover letter, administrative document, and so forth, followed by .pdf. For multiple folders, the document numbering in each folder should be done sequentially from 1, 2, 3. In any event, all the document files are consolidated and submitted as one compressed zip file. This file compression feature, again, is unique to the eCopy not seen in the next-gen portal. In addition, the eCopy naming rules specify not to have any special characters such as asterisks, exclamation marks, brackets, or symbols. eCopy technical requirements in organizing the document files for eCopy can be really demanding tasks if you haven't done this before. But the good news is RSO can assist the study team. We are available to help the study team verifying the technical standard requirements as well as completing the submission. There is also an FDA link for additional information on eCopy process and guidance to refer to. Now, the submission process. Paper copy applications have long been a path for targeting IDE submissions to the Document Control Center at CDRH or CBER divisions. For most devices, CDRH portal accepts applications. Whereas for licensed devices working with the blood and cellular products, IDE submissions go to CBER via eCopy or email attachments. The FDA has now plans to gradually eliminate paper submissions by October 2023 to make the process relatively simple. Some of you may know how the extent of the multiple tasks and the time involved is for submitting the IDE paper documents. In contrast, the eCopy path offers a lot of convenience for submissions just with the sign up for the portal account, for which you don't need to be a sponsor. Now, getting into the portal, there are a few easy steps to accomplish in the CDER portal to ensure that files are eventually getting submitted to the agency database for review. When the submission is successful, the submitter gets a system-generated email notification for its receipt. The right side panel of this slide is the display of the first page of the customer collaboration portal for which devices one can select eStar or eCopy. The eStar path is meant for 510K or pre-marketing application for devices, whereas the eCopy choice serves for IDE and Q submission filings, and RSO can assist the investigator teams in document submissions through the portal for both needs. Now, the registration step is the key to open your access into the system. The portal account setup is relatively simple, and you as a submitter need to register with your email and password information. Please remember to reset the password every 90 days. After registration, the submitter can sign into the eCopy system to navigate the different sections. When you sign in, the opening page greets with some message before navigating into the portal. The message can be a reminder to complete a task that was not completed previously. Just to remember, the FDA submissions through the document portal should be done by 4 p.m. Eastern, if not after 8 a.m. the following day. This is because all the portal activities are managed during the business hours when the IT staff monitor and oversee the system for troubleshooting any software issues. Navigating the portal takes you to the next step. It opens into a format selection page. This is where you branch out to make the choice between eCopy and eStar path. File selection for uploading. When you are in the eCopy path, the next step is to upload files into the portal. For uploading, you can either drag and drop the files or use the browser to access from the computer source. Prior to uploading, please check the document integrity first at your end, and then after uploading, complete the file validation process by using the eCopy guidance, the hyperlink, in order to do the file selection. So if you find an issue when you run it through the validation process, you can cancel the submission and redo the uploading before going into the next step. The penultimate step is to compress the validated documents into a single zip file. The confirmation step. If everything is in order, the confirmation step for the eCopy standard should give the green signal to proceed with the application submission. The submission completion message is displayed in the system process flow, while an acknowledgement email goes to the submitter. Aside from that email, the submitter will receive an update in 1 business day notifying the investigator of the submission status, whether it is on eCopy hold or the IDE review is in progress. If no such update is received, the submitter should email the FDA to cccp@fda.hhs.gov, where CCP stands for the Customer Collaboration Portal. There is a 30-day review period for the IDE application, similar to the IND. As a first communication, the FDA sends out a newly assigned IDE number. When the IDE application review is complete, one of the following outcomes is likely. Approval. Approval with conditions. Staged approval, meaning that some part of the study is approved with conditions to meet, while the remaining part is approved without condition. And then exempt status or disapproval. Technically, 30-day past IDE submission should mean approval, unless the FDA communicates with a message for clinical hold, application disapproval, or request for additional information. After the FDA approval is received, there are several tasks that may need to be accomplished before the study begins. First, on the administrative front, to mention a couple, the study site finalization. There may be multiple sites, so again, they all have to be finalized. Device procurement at the investigator site or sites. This has to be scheduled. The second part is the operational front. Here, the IRB approval has to happen. The ct.gov registration formality has to be finished, and user training for the device, as may be needed, that has to be scheduled. And then any funding formalities that has to happen at the institutional level, this is the time to execute such tasks. So all will be set for the IDE study to start. With that information, we conclude RSO's April month presentation on IND and IDE submissions. We believe that this part 2 of the mini series is also useful for your needs, and we will very much appreciate your feedback on the quality of the content and presentation. And in the interest of time, we request that the Q&A can be accomplished via Teams chat or email. Just to remind everyone, our next mini series presentation, scheduled on the May 16th, will be another important regulatory topic on modifications to IND and IDE. We certainly hope that you will make the time to attend the future mini series presentations as well. which we'll be looking forward to. One last thing to add for the benefit of those who may like to go back to listen to the presentation, just to repeat what Erika said in the beginning, there is an archival of the previous talks in the YouTube at the UT Southwest HRPP site, as well as the SI support site. Thank you all very much. Now, let me turn over to Stephanie for the continuation of the Research Matters presentation. It is Stephanie.